All right, welcome to the Cattlemen. I'm your host, Seth, and this is your other host, Kimber. We're sitting down today with Highland Connection, which is Raymond Gonet. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. And his fiance, Sterling Reichenbach. Close.
Not close enough.
And you guys are, I understand you're not from Lawrence, Kansas, but that's where you currently reside. That's where Highland Connection is, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for sitting down with us, guys. And I honestly, this just came to me. I really appreciate you guys reaching out to us. I think it was the last episode. I asked for listeners to, reach out to us, and if there's topics or ideas or people that they want to be interviewed, to reach out to us. And you guys did. And we thought the topic was relevant and timely. And we actually were like, well, how about you guys talk about that? So yeah, I appreciate that. It helps us out, and I think it helps out. It will help out a lot of our listeners too. So, if you guys don't mind, give us a little bit more information about yourselves and kind of what you guys are doing with Highland Cattle.
Okay. Um, I'll just probably jump in here because Sterling doesn't like to do a whole lot of talking, so she'll pitch in when she wants to. But her and I started Highland Connection here just a couple of years ago. We both had a past love of the breed and interest in the breed, and finally just kind of came together and said, "Hey, why don't we actually just try and start our own herd?" And we definitely both come from backgrounds of show cattle. And so that was definitely part of the focal point of if we were going to get into another breed, raising them and stuff, that we definitely wanted to raise them for show ring and kind of go down that road because that's definitely what we're more familiar with. And obviously what we like to do, if you could say in your free time. There really is no free time when you have cattle, but we
Right.
like showing cattle. So that was definitely something we wanted to bring to the table as far as getting involved in the breed. And so we started with one, and now I think we're up to 15 or so. It's grown at a fairly quick rate, but we're really liking it. We've got a nice little group of females we've gathered up that we've been flushing and doing some ET work with. We've got some show heifers that we've shown that are now old enough that they've had their first calves, and we're starting to flush those as well. And they're starting to raise their own calves as well. And so just slowly growing it, but I guess we kind of kickstarted it pretty good here at the start to kind of get a decent base built up right away that we could kind of play around with and have some fun with. So she actually has kind of a cool story that she can share about how she first became introduced to the breed. I'll tell you mine real quick as well. But growing up, I grew up in Alberta, Canada, and my mother was a kind of had a green thumb and really liked gardening. And there was a local greenhouse that was maybe 10, 15 miles away from where we grew up. And she would frequent it all the time, buying different plants that she wanted for a garden. And they had this herd of Highland cattle at the greenhouse. The owners of the greenhouse had them. There was maybe 30 or 40 of them. And so as a kid, we would all go with my mom to the greenhouse. And I just always was very infatuated with how cool they looked because nothing else looks like them. And so I'd always kind of wanted to have some. And that was kind of instilled in me at a young age, and it never really came full circle until just a few years ago when we got together and she kind of shared some of her ambition in the same thing. And so I'll let her share her story real quick about kind of some of the first cattle she had as well.
Yeah, so I grew up in Michigan, and my dad had randomly reached out to Pat White. She lived about 30 minutes from us, and my dad had expressed interest in wanting to get some Highlands, and she was like, well, why don't you guys come to the national sale in Denver? So that was our first show experience, anything. And my dad bought a group of cows there, and actually, I don't know where the picture is over there, but um, at the backdrop, I stood in front of the heifer. I wasn't showing it. I just smiled and stood there in front of the heifer. But we had no idea what we were doing. So that was my start. I think we had about 15 of them. And then my dad decided to actually get into Angus. So we sold all those out, and now we have Highlands again.
So we both kind of had that initial ambition when we were young kids. The attraction to the breed was there, and so it's kind of cool how we came from two different countries and ended up meeting and getting together. And then we both, just in conversation, kind of brought up the fact that we'd really like to have one of those. It started with one, like I said.
And we accidentally bought a Heartland cow first.
So we just kind of jumped in and brought to the table what we both have as far as expertise in terms of both of our backgrounds are in show cattle and livestock promotion and marketing and stuff like that. And so we thought, well, if we're going to do it, let's go full tilt and really make a go of it. So, and it's been really good so far, and we really enjoyed it.
And did you say when did you guys actually like go for it, like get started?
So last year would have been our first year exhibiting as Highland Connection.
Wow.
And we would have started, I guess, a year in advance of that as far as acquiring some females. And
The first group of cows we would have bought would have been out of that mountain primal dispersal that happened out at that Loma auction.
yeah, that would have been what we bought. Yep.
Wow.
Which that was quite the experience, because there was about a 30 or 40 minute long YouTube video where a guy walked into each pen and kind of panned the pen with his camera, and you kind of had to stop and pause it and zoom in and see, oh, I don't, do you like that one? She looks kind of nice. Write her tag number down. I don't know. We didn't get to go to the sale. So we just happened to snag, we bought 3 females out of there, and one of them was a yearling heifer, and we ended up halter breaking her as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And we took her to Denver as a 2-year-old, never been shown before, and she actually won the junior show in Denver. So it was kind of cool that just
That we were even able to get her broke.
picking them out of a haystack basically, and then working with them and getting them broke at that age was a big enough feat as it was. And then she ended up winning a title like that. It was kind of cool to see all that happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. Buying online is kind of scary. Kimber and I have done that. So it sounds like
I usually don't recommend it. I like to see them in person, but at that point, I would say we were serious about getting Highlands, but when we purchased those females, I don't think we really thought we were going to have potential donor cows or show heifers out of that deal until we got them home and realized that we actually got a couple of them that were very, very high quality. And so we kind of got lucky there, but going forward from there, we've definitely made our selection criteria a little bit more stringent in terms of just dealing with certain breeders that we think have got good genetics and seeing them in person and stuff like that. And really developing relationships with certain breeders that we think that we kind of see eye to eye with, and as far as like what their goals are and what they're trying to raise for cattle as far as quality goes. So it's been good.
So you guys obviously have a pretty good eye then for not only animals on an online auction screen, but also in person. So let's get into kind of what that looks like as far as talking about the breed as far as marketing and promoting the breed. What's that kind of look like for you guys?
Well, Sterling actually is a very talented livestock photographer. That's what she does for a living. And so my background is in selling a large volume of show cattle in multiple breeds. And so we kind of have paired our skill sets together to bring that to the table with our Highland business, because I'm really good at clipping them and preparing them for a photo, and she's really good at capturing those moments on her camera, whether it be video or photography. And she's very talented at website design and print marketing design and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of the grunt work side of it, and she puts the sprinkles on top, and together it makes a really good pairing. So we definitely, when we do anything, like I said, in both of our other businesses that are very successful, we try to do everything very professionally and very high quality. So, for example, as far as any print ads go, we use high resolution photos that are taken on a professional camera. We try not to use cell phone pictures or anything like that that's distorted. We try to have them washed and clipped and presented at the highest level we can to then show them to the public, just because we feel that, and not everyone has to do that, but from our perspective, with what we're trying to grow our business like, and the image that we're trying to leave is that we try to, if we're marketing something for sale, or we're marketing something that we've had success with, we want people to see it at its very best point, right? So, and that comes from a background in show cattle. When you show, the point of showing is to try to be successful in the ring. That is the underlying goal, right? Nobody goes to the show to just not compete, because that's what it is. It's a competition. And so we definitely try to present our cattle at the highest degree whenever we can. Not to say that cell phone photos cannot be useful as far as social media goes, or snippets here and there, but when it comes to really displaying them to the public, we try to do that the cleanest way we can. And so with her photography skills and my ability to get them presented for the photos, it's definitely a great pairing. And we've had a lot of success with kind of bursting onto the scene with a fresh look and a fresh way of doing things. We felt like that kind of sets us apart. So.
All right. So Sterling, can you tell us a little bit about, taking pictures of an animal that you want to maybe sell or just promote or put on your website? You want to put some good pictures of your animal on the website. How do you go about doing that? What are you looking for? Just, for the average, person who is out there with their cell phone, like what's a good, uh, what are some good guidelines to follow? Because you do see a lot of Facebook posts, somebody trying to sell an animal, and it's like, wow, that's a really good looking nose, because like,
Yeah.
it's like a picture like this, of their animal. And, I think, people that would definitely help people sell an animal or just promote their animal if they're able to do that. So can you kind of throw out some guidelines that you would suggest?
So I'd say for starters, all 4 feet on the ground. And then
Because that is a thing. We've seen
yeah,
plenty of
and
that.
like the
Yeah.
walking photo and stuff, save that for a video. And then when you take the photo, try to make sure that you can see all 4 legs. So your front legs are going to be a little staggered, and then your back leg, that off show side or like off side from you, will be staggered up a little bit, just like when you show. And just being off of the side of the animal, I think gives you the best look of them.
So more
And
of
there's definitely, like, you could take different angles to show more things, but also, like she said, some of that, save that for a video. You can really get the aspect of an animal from a three-dimensional look when you're taking different views of it moving around rather than in picture. And so sometimes the best way to do it is take a really nice side photo of the animal that is set up in a way that kind of shows you what you kind of got to work with, and then have that video footage on deck so that if someone's interested, they can then see it moving around. And for the most part, that helps people analyze how their structure's built, see their foot quality. All of those things you can only see so much in a picture because it's standing still, right? So seeing things in motion, sometimes we feel like people try to capture that in picture, and it doesn't do the animal any justice. And so
And a lot of times with females, like that's a picture that you're going to hold on to for years to come as she has progeny, and you can look back on that. And I just think it's really important to get a good quality image that you want to look back on for years.
right. If you want to tell some potential buyer that this female that you're selling goes back to this donor female that's raised all this stuff, and then you show them the picture of her and she's got her head in a hay ring and looks
Right.
dirty,
Yeah.
I guess I gotta take your word for it, right? So if you have these images taken in a way that looks very professional, it makes you look more professional when you're then presenting your business to potential clients. And that's like I said, that's what we really try to bring to the table, is that we're new, and there's gonna be a lot of people that come up and visit with us about what we have available and stuff like that. And we're also steadily trying to gain new clients even out of the breed to kind of bring new people in as well. And if you can show them something that gets them interested, that's better than something that makes them go, I hope it's better than that photo, right? You don't want to give people that opportunity to second guess how high quality your animal might be, because the stuff that you're providing them with doesn't really match the statements that you're making about them, right? So,
And honestly, there's livestock photographers in just about every state that do it for a
yeah.
living. So it's pretty easy to find somebody.
Yeah, we always we don't expect everyone to be a professional photographer
Yeah.
or have a professional camera.
Because even if you do, it can test your marriage.
Correct. Speaking from experience.
Yeah.
So, but like she said, there is all kinds of livestock photographers that are very talented all over the country, that travel, and it's really, honestly, it's very inexpensive in the long run to have high quality photo, because
When do you think about like what you can sell just one embryo for? The price of having
a good quality
professional
photo will make you more money than a bad quality photo will lose you. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worth putting the effort in. And like we said, you don't have to be a professional photographer, because that's sometimes we hear that, like, oh, we wish we could get a better picture of this animal. Well, you don't have to. Somebody else that's qualified can do that. You can reach out to other breeders that maybe have used certain photographers, or just look up online and just find someone that can do that for you, because it will, as a breeder that's marketing livestock, there's no way that a professional photo will ever lose you money. It will always make yourself look more professional. It will always help you make your livestock better. It's just, you can find that in any sort of business, no matter what you're selling. I mean, if you look at restaurants, they don't use cell phone photos of their burger to advertise their new burger, right? They get this professional video and photo taken because it's to entice the client to want to purchase it, right? So you really have to focus on having high quality material if you're going to promote your stuff properly, for sure.
That makes sense. And just to highlight what Sterling said too, it's a photo that you may use for a lifetime and for generations of cattle. So it makes sense to spend a little bit of money on a good quality photo. Raymond, can you talk a little bit about presentation of the animal? You said you want it to be clean. You talked about clipping a little bit. Can you kind of go into that?
Yeah, so there's definitely different thoughts on some of that stuff, because I know that not everybody, just like the photography side of things, not everybody can clip them as well as others, or some people feel that they don't want them to be clipped, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody's allowed their own prerogative. Similar to the livestock photography side of it, if you don't feel that you are capable of clipping one and you want to clip it for these photos, same deal. You can reach out to people that do a good job at that, and spending that little bit of extra money to get that presentation to a higher level is never going to affect your bottom line negatively. So for those that don't want to have them clipped because that's just how they want to present their cattle, that's fine too. But we still recommend having them cleaned up, having them hopefully on a halter to where you can position them for those photos the best you can and really capture their whole look appropriately. So, like I said, it's everyone's prerogative as to what they want to do, but at the end of the day, it still has to look professional in order to really gain yourself any ground. So, if you don't want to clip them, that's fine. But I choose to, because I feel like if that's something that we're allowed to do in a breed like that, then why wouldn't you want to try to capture that at the highest level you can possibly do, right? So that's just our take on it. But like I said, there's plenty of people that can do it as well, that if you're not comfortable doing it and think that it would gain you something in the long run as far as marketing your livestock, absolutely go down that path. Visit with those people, get them to come out and present those cattle as good as you can, because it'll definitely make you money in the long run.
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And then what about a website? You guys, Raymond, you said that Sterling is just really good at developing a website. What about that? Like, how much with Facebook Marketplace and all the different pages, Akka pages on Facebook and whatnot. I think even some regional websites have, you can list your animal on their website. What can you guys talk a little bit about a website? Is it important to have a website? Is it worth the money? Kind of talk us through that. Is it reasonably is it super cheap or expensive, or can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I would say it's fairly inexpensive in the
That's
long
because I
run.
made it
Well,
for
no,
you.
but it is. But it all ties into the same idea between the taking the pictures and having them clipped. The little bit of money that you invest in your business, if it's going to make your business look more professional, it's definitely going to help you. So for me, I think a website's important, even though we've got Facebook and all these pages, to really just have a home base for your own business that you can always go back to, because you can always advertise your website on all those social media sites. And for example, our website's got an apparel store linked to it, to where if customers want to buy Highland Connection gear or hats or any of that stuff, they can then visit the website, and that link's on there. And so a lot of times when we make a post about certain things for sale, as far as cattle or embryos go, we like to add that link in those social media posts, because it frequents a lot of traffic to our website. So not only does that help as far as get people to see your stuff, we find that, so if you've made a post on social media that you're selling a heifer, for example, if we then put that website link in there and they happen to click on that, now they can explore our entire program. It's not just that one post that they're seeing, right? They can go look at the donor cows. They can go look at the semen that we might have available for sale. They can go buy a hoodie. They can do all of that stuff there. And they wouldn't have known that if they just saw that heifer. They would say, yeah, she's a nice heifer. I'm going to have to screenshot that and save that so I can remember it. It gives people a way to really, especially if you can set your website up to where if you Google the name of the company, that's the first thing that comes up. That's a really good look if you're searching for something, is if you type in the name of it, boom, their website pops up. We definitely recommend having a Facebook page for sure. And Instagram is definitely been helpful as well. It's different for everybody as far as what they're comfortable with using and what they really like using, but we definitely lean on Facebook and website probably the most out of everything.
Yeah,
because
we forget to post on Instagram.
Yeah, we feel that those two are probably the most successful as far as generating business. Those two sites definitely are areas that people go if they're looking to spend money or purchase things, versus a lot of the other ones. And so the Facebook pages, we tend to, if we make a page or a post on one of our pages, we'll then share it on the Highland or ACA pages. And then it just, like I said, it still sends people to your stuff, where it's in a general forum that it kind of fine tunes it to where they can really develop a relationship with you on what you actually have as a whole, and send all your information is in one place there. And it's a nice home base to have for sure.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Everything's there. I know a lot of people are, selling beef too. That's something else that I've seen on people's websites, merch, like you guys said. So yeah, those are a lot of really, really good points. I guess the challenge maybe for some people, might just be finding someone to do that for them,
Yeah.
whether it's hiring someone or getting their
Wife to do it.
wife.
I'm gonna say, I know somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I was gonna say like they're young. It seems like there's a lot of younger people that have gotten into
Yes.
Highlands more recently, where you have your Pat Whites and your people who've been doing it for a long time.
Pat has a really nice website as well, actually, speaking of that.
Yeah.
Same idea. She's got all of her stuff consolidated on there so that if somebody ever looked up her business, her website pops up, they can see all of her sires, all of her donors, show winners, all that stuff. It gives people, we found that when we first got into the breed and we were really exploring different breeders and trying to find different genetics, that the ones that had websites, we really appreciated it because we were able to really dive deep into their whole program and get a full grasp of what they really had to offer, versus there are some successful breeding programs that don't really have much on social media or websites. It's just kind of a word of mouth situation, which is fine. But when you're a new breeder and you're really wanting to learn more about different bloodlines or learn more about different people's programs, those websites are very, very helpful. And so we thought if we're going to start, we want to have that type of catalog that we can build up so that 10, 15 years down the road, we've got all that information consolidated to where people can really learn where we started from and how far we've came and see all of the, different things we've done. And so it like I said, it builds a catalog of kind of what you've put together as a whole program. So.
Right. So are you guys planning on going to Denver then this year? Or I guess next year?
I try to get Raymond to go to more Highland shows, but he goes to enough shows as it is
Yeah,
that it's hard to drag him to more.
The amount of cattle that I sell every year, non-Highlands, keeps me fairly busy on the show road as well. And so it's hard for us to we actually were able to exhibit this year at Louisville. We exhibited Highlands there this year. And I even said when we left, I said, man, I don't know if I want to do that again. I had to stay an extra 4 days past what I'd already been there. And it was tough. We were tired, but we definitely love Denver. Just in general, we've been exhibiting cattle there for years in other breeds, and we really love the atmosphere, the mountains. I told her when we drove into Louisville this year too, I said, you feel that? And she's like, feel what? I'm like, exactly. When you drive into Denver, yeah. I've never driven into Denver and seen those mountains and not got your heart racing, and you're excited to get there. It's the only show in the country that gets me actually excited to be there. So no, we love Denver, and we're going to have a pretty good sized string there this year, and we're really excited. And we've kept growing every year, and so now this year will be the first year we've actually got some stuff in our string that was raised by us. It has our prefix, so that'll be really cool to kind of show everybody some of those. So
Yeah, and we have our first sale heifer for the national sale,
Yep.
which we're pretty excited about. Raymond and I fought over which one it was going to be, but we finally decided.
And tell me the date. Tell me the date of that again for your sale.
No,
Oh, we're talking about the national.
Yeah, the
We have a
national
heifer
sale.
for the national sale.
Oh, okay. You guys
Yeah.
still have a sale though coming up, right?
Yes, it's the day after everyone leaves Denver.
Yep, it'll be an online
Semen and embryo sale.
called Scotch on the Rocks, and this will be the second year we had it. We had it last year, and it was really, really successful and very, very fun. We had a lot of fun doing it, and so we're going to do it again this year, and we're just going to do it after the National Western, kind of on the way home type situation. And it's all online, and so you can have it anytime you want because it's online bidding. So
we will have a little social though at our stalls with like charcuterie and drinks. Is that the night of the junior show?
Yeah, the evening of the day of the junior heifer show, we're going to have that again at our stall. So if everybody's watching this, you're more than welcome to come visit with us. So
This is the official invitation.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you. I'm going to ask you a question I ask everyone as we wrap up here. What is something, Raymond and Sterling, that you guys would recommend, pass along, advice that you would give to someone who is new to Highland cattle or interested in possibly purchasing some Highland cattle?
I'd say find a breeder that you guys have the same goals in mind and kind of use them as a mentor. Honestly, getting into it, we had some struggles with some people not really welcoming us into the breed, but we just clung on to like the people that welcomed us and found some good mentors, and it's done us wonders getting into the breed. And just when we have questions about genetics, and because it's a little different than other breeds with not as much AI, so it took us a while to learn, and we're still learning about the genetic side, and we still have a lot of questions that we ask our mentors.
Yeah, a lot of the pedigrees are a lot harder, I thought, initially to follow than
just because
a
there's
lot of
not
breeds.
as much AI compared to
Yeah.
other breeds.
Well, just that, and like, for example, in the Angus world, there's a lot of cow families, right? So you can go buy a heifer at a variety of different places, and it might be a Georgina
And it stays
or an
Georgina
Elba,
throughout
right.
the.
Here, there is no rhyme or reason to what they're named, and it was hard to really track certain pedigrees to go, okay, that goes back to this famous cow, because none of her daughters were named after her or anything like that, which is what we were kind of accustomed to. And so that was a little bit of a learning curve for us, but we've definitely.
Jordan Ritz helps us a lot with stuff.
Jordan's been good. He's been the one we kind of call and go, do you know about this? Is this
He'll
good?
be like, yeah, that's a full sip to this, and this goes back to this. And we're like, okay.
No, we've had some really good relationships we built with Jordan, Trafalgar, Star Lake. Pretty much anybody that's been consigned in our Scotch on the Rocks is kind of our little group of people that we definitely have aligned goals with, and we've got great relationships with them as people in general. And I think that's kind of teeing off what some of Sterling said. It's not even necessarily finding people that have the same goals with you in cattle. It's surrounding yourself with people that have the same mindset
yeah.
and that you can really jive with just as people, right? Because everybody's different. So find the people that are similar in terms of interests and personality that you can really get along with. And there's plenty of great people in the breed to kind of build with and work off of. And we've found our few and we've really latched onto that, and they've helped us a lot. And just, I guess the biggest thing that we probably would say as new breeders coming in is don't get disheartened. It's a new breed, and it's hard to kind of jump into something like that. But if you really are focused and really have your goals set as to what you want to do, just stay true to it and let your work speak for itself, kind of a situation, right?
Like, for instance, with how we got hooked up with Trafalgar's, we had asked Pearl, we said, we want some Highlands with some size, we don't want smaller Highlands. And she said Trafalgar, and then we ended up getting two, and that was one of the heifers that was reserved in the open show last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Chris has been really fun to work with, and we've bought into bulls with him, and he's bought into stuff with us now, and we've got a great relationship. And that was 100% stemmed off of a phone conversation with someone, like we said, Pearl, who we get along great with, and her recommendation, right? So if you align yourself with people that you trust and get along with, they're always going to give you good recommendations. And so find those people and have fun with it for sure. Just enjoy yourself because we love it. I guess initially when we got into the breed, I think some of the pushback we got was, who are the new kids on the block that want to do things differently than anybody else? And it was just a little bit abrasive because I don't think that anybody actually took the time to, not anybody, certain people didn't take the time to learn who we were, learn what we really wanted to do, what our goals were with Highland Connection, where we want to, go with it. We weren't just jumping in to have a Highland and the thrill wears off tomorrow and then we're gone. We really do want to be in the breed and we want to build a herd and do all those things. And so once we were able to kind of get our foot in the door with certain breeders and explain to them, kind of what are looking for, what we wanted to do, that then they started to really build around with us. So that definitely helped us. I guess that's another thing I would say if you're new is learn to express yourself in a way that people can see that you're genuine about what you're trying to do. So,
yeah, that's definitely a theme that we've seen since starting this podcast, is just networking and finding a mentor, getting to know people, being genuine. So we really appreciate that. I wanted to thank you guys for your time, for sitting down with us. I feel like there's probably more episodes that I can pick your brains about. So we'll definitely talk more in the future. But I wanted to thank you guys again for reaching out to us and giving us ideas for topics. That's really important to Kimber and I, just to have that help with, what do we do next? What do people want to hear and learn about? So I want to thank you guys because I think you're probably one of the first people that have reached out to us about that. So thank you again so much. We hope to meet you guys in person someday. So hopefully
Where is it, in Denver?
we are not going to be at Denver,
Darn it.
unfortunately.
It's a sore subject.
It's work schedules, basically, it's just not going to happen because of work schedules. But we will hopefully, well, we're probably gonna try to be there next
We'll
year.
be there next year.
Yeah. It's like our thing. We just miss every other year is kind of what has happened to us lately. But we love it there. It was actually our first show we ever went to also.
Awesome.
So we definitely can relate to the entire Denver experience, and people should go if they haven't gone in the past.
Yeah.
So it's a great first show for sure. But anyways, thank you guys so much. We'll definitely be in touch in the future. And hey, if you guys have any other ideas for us or people to interview, let us know. Same with all of our listeners. If you guys have ideas, topics, people that you would like to hear from, let us know, reach out. And if you guys are good with it, we'll go ahead and tag your website and social media contacts at the end of this episode.
absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.